Welcome aboard, all you wonderful groomers, pet stylists, and canine cosmetologists. You found the Traveling Groomers podcast, where we discuss lessons learned from mobile and house call grooming. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Bear Anthony. Any moment now, we'll be joined by my co-host and friend, retired mobile groomer and educator extraordinaire, Mary Aquendo, and very likely a special guest to help us chat about all things grooming, grooming industry related, and just plain fun digressions that I will totally wrangle back to the topic. Grab those travel mugs and climb aboard to see where today's topic will bring us. Let's roll.
Chris, it's like the Brady Bunch, See, I'll be
Yeah.
looking down.
I see Anjie down there. But I think I don't know how it's going to, it's probably going to be Anjie down there, but I don't know how it's going to show us on YouTube. So
No, it's going to show exactly like this.
Yes, but I see it different because you're on the bottom and Anjie and I are on top. But I guess when you're recording,
because I'm recording, this is the way it's going to be.
All right, let me jump right in and say, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 239 of the Traveling Groomers podcast, recorded on December 6th and will be airing on December 20th, right in time for your Christmas enjoyment. Ta-da. Oh, dying.
Hi, Anjie.
Hi.
Okay, so what we want to talk about, because we're coming up now on the end of the year. So we want to talk about like the things in our business that we can improve in our business that are like intangible. So it's not like a new table or a new clipper or a new anything that's physically you can touch.
Right. No new equipment or product or shampoo. Just the things that you can't touch, but definitively improve your business. And I got the idea for discussing this in this episode specifically. Could I have mangled that even worse? Yeah, probably. Moving along. Because Anjie, in addition to her salon sanitation class, does salon sanitation consultations. So I said, I now have a home salon. I need to do this. And we'll go in depth later about it, but it was way more than I thought it was going to be. It was more than I expected. And it was 127% worth it, probably all the way to 130% worth it or more. Yeah.
All right. So I just want to jump in here because yesterday, well, not yesterday to this is being aired, but yesterday to this recording, we did a live stream and which you know what I'm bringing up, right, Chris?
I know what you're bringing up, but the fact that you were interrupting me is still valid. Let me get to the end of my point and then correct me, Missy.
Okay, get to the end of your point.
I'm done. I'm done now.
All right, so then
you can correct me.
Okay, no, what I want to talk about is that how did you clean a drain?
Oh, what? Now what?
Come on, Anjie, you know what she did. Bleach and pine sol.
Oh.
This was yesterday. This was yesterday.
No, I didn't do this yesterday. I brought this up yesterday that I was trying to clear an intensely clogged drain, and I accidentally created mustard gas. This was a solid 15 plus years ago. I don't remember how long ago it was, but it was a while.
You made it seem like you did it like last week.
No. It was years ago.
So when you're using bleach, let me just clarify here that the only thing you want to mix with bleach
is water.
It's water. Just water. You can use distilled water. You can use tap water. You can use hose water. You can
use seltzer water.
You could if you so desire. However, the only thing you should ever be mixing with bleach is water and nothing else, because it can create a chemical reaction that can actually not figuratively, not metaphorically, can literally kill you dead. So just water, please.
Okay.
Okay.
My apologies, Mary. I'm sorry. I just did what I accused you of and didn't let you finish because I thought you were going to get on me about, accusing you of being hangry when you were merely speaking of eating late and indigestion. Mea culpa.
I do not even know where that one came up right now, just to be really honest.
Oh, because we mentioned it before. Whatever.
Okay.
Listen, since we're doing our just opening and introduction, I have a question. Does it count as a full-on hot toddy if there's only, say, a shot of rum in a small teapot?
I'm going to go with no.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea. I'm really not a drink.
I'm probably going to say no as well. I just didn't want to include too much because I was about to record a podcast and I wanted to be professional instead of.
Can you taste the rum in it?
I put so much lemon and honey in this, I can't, sadly. So I'm going to say no. It doesn't.
I think what qualifies as a hot toddy is you actually have to taste the rum.
Okay, fair. I will take that note. But I am pounding the nice, soothing, hot beverage because while I don't believe I have COVID because I keep testing negative and I was exposed to it, I got something. I definitely got a cold. Cruds are going around. It's that time of year. So,
Okay, so shall we wrangle it back to intangibles?
So wrangling back to intangibles. Education could also be an intangible. We'll talk a little bit about that because it's not something, unless it's something with a workbook, if you want to get super technical, it's not something you have a physical thing to get back in. Any type of business coaching is an intangible. It's something that you spend money on for your business. It improves your business and your life, but you can't physically touch.
All right, so I'm just going to throw a figure at you. So there was an article in Forbes magazine. I don't remember the title of it, but I had used it as reference for an article that for every dollar that you spend on some sort of education or coaching, it will net you back $5. So there's a 500% return on investment when you invest in these intangibles. And that's a conservative figure, to be honest, I think.
That sounds about right. Definitely on the conservative side, but I would say at least $5 for every dollar you spend on education and that sort of thing.
Or coaching, and how that works out to that $5 ROI on it is that when you take the time to educate or get help to do something, okay, what that does is that it either gives you a skill you could charge more money for, or it helps you streamline your processes so that you're faster at what you do. All right. You're more efficient. Yeah. Maybe it's ergonomic equipment, but that's not an intangible, but that's something you could learn. Okay. That keeps your body from breaking down faster so that you can groom that extra dog a day. Or
it could also be using the equipment you already have correctly.
Yeah.
And using things you already have correctly in an ergonomic manner.
Yeah. So there's a lot of benefits to the quote intangibles. I mean, we all know that, you know what, going from a table that is just a fold up table to one that is hydraulic and goes up and down. Because, you know, for those of us who have been in the industry long enough, we all got those really good calf muscles from pumping the tables up and down. Okay. But going from a table like that to an electric table, we know what the benefit is. That was, we can see it. It's so much easier on our body. We don't have to have 4 people to lift up a lab onto a table anymore.
And I want to say, in defense of hydraulic tables, before we take our first commercial break, because it's time, in defense of hydraulic tables, I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's scary and jerky for the dogs because it drops quickly and it's boom, 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 boom. Not if you do it correctly. Not if you do it right. There are ways to do it gently. Like I have a hydraulic table that is, oh, it's got to be almost 20 years old, but it still works. And if I'm careful and tap the release button, the release lever, so the table just goes. And if you pump it slowly instead of like a mad person, the dog does lift very, very similarly to an electric table. So once again, it is how you use the equipment that you have. But
how about this? Okay, do your commercial and then I'll do another example.
Okay. What if I told you you could have a year's worth of online education for less than the cost of one in-person trade show? That's right. For only $97 a month, you have access to a different 2-day educational conference with 10 hours of material taught by the best in the industry. Every month has a new theme that includes anything from grooming skills to business and everything in between. Can't catch it live or just want to rewatch it? Recordings are available for 6 weeks with closed captioning for both live and recordings with transcripts. What are you waiting for?
Okay, so do you know groomers used to groom with this thing right here?
Oh my God, that's horrific.
For those who are listening and not watching, this is called a hair clipper, and the brand is Double Arrow, and I'm not sure which language that is on top of the box.
It looks like Korean.
I don't know.
But for those watching the YouTube, Mary, do we get comments on the YouTube that I don't check? Can someone tell us if I was correct or what language that is? Hold it up again.
I will let you know.
Also, I want to say that there are some quote unquote groomers who still use shears, like big shears, similar, not quite similar to that, but picture like huge scissor type shears, because there are some breeds of sheep whose wool is very fine. And if you shave them, they won't grow enough over the summer to give them protection during the winter, and they will die. So they have to be hand shorn with, squeezing your hand together, old fashioned shears. And there are a very small and specialized group of people who do this.
Okay, but the point being is, would you rather groom with those, or
Oh no, I'd rather have
an electric pair?
I'd rather have an electric pair that's low vibration and relatively light and fit to my hand. Because there's got to be, I was looking at a chart earlier today or yesterday about weight of clippers and weight and speed. And I think there's got to be a happy medium between weight and shape of the body. Because if it's like a couple ounces heavier, but it's not square, it has rounded corners and I can grip it better. You can't just look at those figures. You have, oh, sorry, I'm going on my ergonomic soapbox, aren't I?
Well, you actually brought up something that many groomers do not look at. There's actually a huge factor when it comes to clippers, and that factor is torque.
Yeah. And vibration, like how hard is it vibrating in your hand? And that is something that affects you really strongly ergonomically, as we learned in our podcast that covered that.
You mentioned speed. Speed is actually less important, even though speed sounds really, really cool. It actually is a nominal factor when it comes to torque. Torque is actually twice as important as speed, because if your clippers don't have enough torque,
They're
You're
not going to go
not
through the
going to
thick
get
thing.
through the thick hair.
So you're not going to be that fast, and it actually slows it down as you're trying to go through that clip hair. And torque was not on that chart I looked at.
Of course it's not, because no groomer looks for torque. When I talk about torque in my classes, everybody goes, what?
Mm-hmm.
Because torque is actually the first thing and the only thing I look for in a clipper is torque.
You know, the old Pet Edge catalogs, maybe back going into New England Serum, they used to list that. I
Yes,
don't know if the new ones do it.
They do
I'd
not.
have to go out to the garage
They
to
don't?
grab the,
They don't.
because my
They
husband,
don't list torque is because no one's looking for torque, because the speed is it's 4 bazillion per minute. It doesn't matter. It doesn't, that speed doesn't matter at all. It does you zero good if the torque is poop.
okay, good to know.
I
right.
am Googling.
All right, so while Chris is Googling,
Pretty.
so getting back now again to intangibles. All right, so there are different things you could do for your salon. Okay. And so when we say the word salon, yes, we are the traveling groomers. We mean the mobile grooming vans. Okay. We mean the home based. We mean the shop. We mean somebody's utility room that you're grooming in. Okay. That's what we mean. So there's a couple of things you could do as far as like intangibles are. All right. So for someone, let's say, who wants to be a house call groomer, right? And maybe you are a house call groomer. All right. Getting help in that avenue, okay, to get you set up properly in the first place. I cannot overemphasize how important a good business coach is. And again, when I say business, it can be anything in our industry. All right. In fact, what you're looking for, what you're not looking for, is a jack of all trades. Find a coach that is specific to what it is you want to do. Okay. What it is you need help with, because that's their level of expertise. Okay. I just literally today stopped with one coach because she took me as far as she could go. Okay. And literally in the next breath, signed up with another one. Okay. Because my needs have changed, and I'm going to go with a coach who's going to help me in specifically what I am looking for to do. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes
Okay.
perfect.
So if let's say, if you're going mobile, if you're going house call, all right, find a coach who this is what they do already, and that is their niche, and that is their that's their specialty. Okay. If you need help with processes in your facility, that could very well be a very different coach. If you have employees, that can be a different coach. And I'm just going to throw a name out for employees right now. That's Denise Haro. Okay.
She's got some really good classes on dealing with employees, and she has a ton of them.
Okay. So look for a specialty. All right. So we have Angie here. And part of the reason we have Angie here is that she has a specialty. Okay. And so we're going to talk about her specialty and why that would be like really good for you to do for your business. And coincidentally, yeah, this whole, I believe they're calling it, I wrote down the initials on it, MRCI, Mystery Respiratory Canine Illness.
Wow.
That at the moment is the official name for it, because they don't have anything else other than that to call it. Okay. So Angie, why sanitation, all right, so important? And let me rephrase that. Why is having your protocols looked over important?
All right. When you're in your salon, it's very hard to be objective. you see the same things every single day, and you may not see the nuances of what you're doing that may be just a hair off. You know, oh, well, we've always done it this way because this way it. Here, we can tweak it, and this will be easier, better, whatnot in the long run.
All right. And those for saying, well, you know what? Yeah, I took a salon sanitation class 3 years ago. I'm good.
And we've learned a lot in 3 years.
Okay. But the point being is, even if the class you took 3 years ago was perfect, right on point, it's been 3 years since you've taken that class. It's just, I don't know about everybody else, but sometimes I could actually feel like the information and knowledge in my head just like dribbling out of my ears because there's only so much room up there for stuff.
Yeah.
All right. There's a saying that, you know, it's a line. You see it a lot of times in movies. I've forgotten more than you know.
And I personally, it's a feeling that have had more than once, but I hate it every time it happens when you're either in a class or you're reading something and you're like, fuck, I knew that. Knew that at one point in time. Why am I not doing that? Why am I not doing that anymore? Does it still apply? But we'll take 30 seconds and I am going to talk about my personal experience with this class and why I was like, and that annoying thing the customer said that I told you the other day, Angie, that was funny as hell. It was funny as hell. All right. Hanvey engineering isn't just for mobile groomers. I have loved my Hanvey equipment for years before I even thought of getting a mobile van, and I wouldn't want to groom without my Bathing Beauty and hair vac. With every piece of equipment in their van and outside of it, having its own QR code linked to troubleshooting, tips, and fixes, these low-maintenance workhorses turn potential roadblocks into mere speed bumps. Check them out yourself at hanvey.com. Okay, so one of the things I prided myself on my home salon was keeping it clean. And I organized it the way it felt right at the time. But I didn't realize that part of this class wasn't just, here's how you clean, here's the areas you need to look at. I got on a video chat with Angie. We did an absolute tour of my office and my garage. And she gave me tips on how to rearrange it to work better, to create more room, to make room in certain places, to make sure everything was closed up, because I didn't have enough storage. That was one of the things we talked about and we worked on, because it bothered me that I had this beautiful little dresser that was my grooming station. A client was getting rid of it and she gave it to me, and it's kind of marble top and it's carved and it's so freaking pretty. But I had no place to put all my sprays and potions and extra little bits and bobs that the top you couldn't even see. So we rearranged things and we got that. And one of my customers, and it took a while, I was like, somebody's going to say something. Somebody's going to say something. Finally, one of my customers said something, and she looked around and she went, oh, you cleaned up in here. Yeah, there's more room now. And what I said was, well, yeah, we reorganized everything. We got, in my head was like, it was always fucking clean in here. Clean wasn't there were areas I needed improvement on, but clean wasn't the biggest problem per se. God damn it.
It was clean, but it was also cluttered.
It was cluttered. It was cluttered.
So a lot of people equate an uncluttered area with clean.
Yeah.
I can't handle clutter. It makes my brain do wacky things. I
And
like
I'm,
things.
yeah.
You were in my salon.
Oh, yeah.
Like everything is labeled, everything has a place, everything in its place. Nothing is cluttered, everything is enclosed. It just streamlines everything to make the whole process easier. And that's part of what I help people do, is streamlining your processes. Because if you're wasting time,
Mhm.
you're wasting money just by wasting time. So if your processes are streamlined, and that's why when I wrote up your protocols for sanitation, everything is super streamlined
Yeah.
so that you can get the most out of your time to get the most out of, to make the most money.
And
Because that's
I
the-
was amazed how quick everything goes. Like once you get it down, it takes me almost no time.
I want to make a point here that time
Yeah.
is a commodity.
Yeah.
Okay. You
Buying it.
can't, and you can't buy it. You can't go over to Target and buy some. All right. You can only use time in an efficient, if you want time to be worth something, it has to be done in an efficient manner. And here's the other thing too. Again, this is why coaching is so important. Okay. What is your time worth? All right. So in the case of Chris, in any given day, how much time would you say, and Chris here, whether it's house call or home base, how much time do you think she saved you in a given day? Just
Oh God. I would say a
approximately
solid 15, 20 minutes
a day.
a day, minimal, because, and the reason it's so low, I was going to say half an hour, because she added some stuff that I went, oh, I should be doing, but it wasn't necessarily on my radar. So some stuff is weekly, and I already kind of had on my radar, like, oh, how often should I be pulling the hair out of the wheels of my stool? It's probably once a week. So, but she built that in, like, every detail.
All right. So let's just say that over the course of a week, she saved you an hour and a half. Okay. An hour and a half time. So in that hour and a half, all right. So this is where, just explain, this is where ROI comes into. Okay. That ROI is what a couple things can happen. Okay.
ROI for those that
Return
on
on
investment.
investment.
Okay. So in that hour and a half, Chris can do another dog. Okay. And what is the average cost? What is your average grooming price? Just an average.
120.
Okay. So that's 120. She could be making extra every single week. Okay. She could take that hour, that hour and a half, and she could finish up early. All right. Work-life balance. She could take that hour and she could work on writing one of her workshops. Okay. So that hour and a half has a certain amount of value to it. All right. This is why I always say you should know what your hourly rate is worth. What is it that you should be bringing into your business on an hourly rate based on a 40-hour week, 8 hours a day. Okay. And that is where I think that is where the real power of knowing what your hourly rate is and whether or not, so that you could track, so you can track that ROI. All right. From whatever coach that you're doing. So in this case, her ROI is $120 every single week. How she spends that, that's totally up to her.
If it were to be grooming a dog, let's just say for 52 weeks out of the year, it was going to be grooming a dog.
Mm-hmm.
She would earn an extra $6,240.
Okay. Divide that by 5, Angie. A little over $1,000. We're going to be quick on math.
1248.
1248. It's really good. So, anything that Chris paid Angie, $1,200 or less is what will give her ROI. So if the potential earning is 60, I'm going to say 6,000. Okay. So 1,200 over the course of, what am I doing? 1/5. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm doing math and trying to do a podcast at the same time. Doesn't necessarily work.
Yeah.
Okay. So the point that we're trying to make is, all right. So when I said that 500% was conservative, this is what we mean.
Yep.
Okay. So, moving it along. Okay.
Now, keep in mind that for some salons, initially, it is not going to save you ton.
No, right in the beginning, it's a little bit of it. It'll take time to get used to the new processes. And it did take me time to get everything set up, to do the redecorating and to the redecorating. It was just moving stuff around.
Yeah, the streamlining of processes.
Yes.
But for some salons that currently do not have any type of salon sanitation protocols, this is going to add time.
Initially.
Time.
Initially.
However,
Right.
in the long run, it will save you time and it will save you money.
Okay. And I'm going to illustrate that point with a little story. So back when I was a brand new groomer, I had Taz, the Gordon Setter, on my table. I still hate this dog to this day. Dog is long dead. Okay. I still hate this dog. So I got Taz on the table. He's actually was a retired show dog, very used to being groomed. Okay. Boy, when I tell you that dog played me like the newbie I was. All right. That dog probably, I think took me I think he took me 4 hours to do. And honestly and truly, I was frustrated during those 4 hours. Okay. I wanted to, at any point during those 4 hours, just say, hey, Beth, I'm out of here. Good luck with this dog. Okay. I could have quit at any point, but I was frustrated. I was starting to get really annoyed. And the dog took me 4 hours. Now, if I was to do tasks today, we would have none of it. None of it. Okay. That dog would stand on the table and he'd listen to me because I was in charge, and he would not take me 4 hours. Maybe a dog that size, probably a little, maybe let's say an hour and a half. Okay. And
By the
wouldn't
way,
be angry and I wouldn't be frustrated. It would just, we're getting the job done, end of discussion. So the point there is, everything we do in our business, we develop a routine to do it. And sometimes getting that routine can be a little painful.
mhm. All right. And we will be right back in 30 seconds. So by now, you know how much I love my Evolution shears. They're the only shears I use. Check out all the options, including customizable non-swivels, at evolutionshears.com and give Abby a shout with any questions you might have. Traveling Groomers listeners get $10 off and free shipping with the code ON THE ROAD, all one word. So check them out today. Your hands will thank you.
Need some double-sided tape.
I do. I need some. There was tape there. It did not. No, that was new. Something just fell. Well, something fell off my wall a while ago. For those of you not watching the video, and I attempted to fix it during the commercial, half-assedly, and it fell immediately and demonstrated exactly how half-assed I was. Anywho, and. Okay, if here's another example. If we don't have a cleaning and sanitation process in place, what it's going to do in the long run, if we don't have one, is cost you a whole lot more time and money, because the little things build up. The little things that are quick, if you do them regularly, if you don't do in a month, are going to be a job and a half. In one of the corporate stores I worked at, it was on our end of week checklist to pull out the cage banks and clean behind them. Now, when we did that every week, it was a 15-minute job.
Mm-hmm.
Like the hardest part was moving the cage bags back and forth but let me tell you, you let that pile up for a while, all of a sudden you're finding shit. And you're like, there's 14 towels. There's 8 the plastic things that we keep the dogs' things in. Oh, is this leash and collar that was supposed to and not to mention hair that could build a few Yorkies.
Or cause a fire.
Yeah, I had wanted.
Or be a lovely place for bacteria to grow. Just gross. It just got gross.
Part of the reason why I started putting everything in plastic baggies in my mobile grooming van, because even though I had storage, all right, hair gets in everywhere. Right?
Mm.
So, being smart, right? I'm going to just take the high velocity dryer and just blow all that hair out, right? But then again, I had to go chase a whole bag of loose bandanas down the driveway because I blew out all and worse than the bandanas was the bows.
Yeah.
Okay. After that, everything went in a baggie.
Yep.
So
I'm just
anyway.
picturing like $100 worth of bows just scattering throughout Connecticut.
All over you. Yeah. And of course,
So
never
sad.
the cheap stuff. It was my Bardell bows.
No, that's exactly what I was picturing. I was picturing the little Bardell bows. Exactly.
Oh, I'm chasing after every single last one of them.
Yeah, because Bardell bows, hello. Yeah.
So yeah, how much time Angie could I have saved if I just would have had them in a baggie in the first place?
Quite a bit.
Quite a bit.
Quite a bit. And the funny thing is that it's little things that people don't recognize will save them time in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
And closing your stuff is a huge thing. And there is nothing in my salon that is not enclosed as far as storage. Nothing. Not a single thing is not enclosed as far as storage. Nothing anywhere.
And I'm actually thinking of revamping some of the stuff because the storage actually in my garage is so limited. What I'm planning on doing with the gallons is on the other side of the door is it's not even a laundry area, a laundry room. It's like a laundry area because it's a bottom of a staircase, large area. Mm-hmm. I'm going to clean that out, put an open shelf, put all my gallons in there, and then have the large dilution bottles because I found one that's tall and really soft. So it's easy to squeeze out. Put all my undiluted shampoos, everything I have in a gallon container. I'll put in that and keep it right by the tub and keep the gallons out of the salon.
You know what I did with my gallons was that when I would order the gallons, I would order a gallon and I would order two 16-ounce bottles. Okay. And so I would put the 16-ounce bottle in my van. And when that was empty, I would bring it in the house so I can disinfect it, take the other one that was ready to go, put that in the van. And then just when the other bottle was clean and dry, fill up the 16-ounce bottle with the shampoo. And it was labeled for the right shampoo.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to put labels or anything on them.
Well, if you do wish to, or your label falls off, okay, their Avery makes, because I use these in my salon, because I use the condiment bottles because they're easy to squeeze, and that will not work for house call, however, because the bottom is open and it's squeezy. But
Unless there's some that have a top. There's some that have a flip top.
yeah, so the cool thing is that both ends come off. So it makes cleaning and disinfecting them that much easier, because you can get the hose nozzle all around and everywhere in there to get it nice and clean and shampoo free before you bleach them out. But Avery makes a waterproof label. It's a sticker, and it's get them on Amazon, Avery waterproof labels, and they're it's about half the size of it's about the size of a Post-it note. And they stick very, very well. They do not come off. It takes a while. And we stopped using one type of shampoo, and we had to scrape it off of like 3 bottles because you couldn't wash it off. It wouldn't go away.
I honestly just use a Sharpie because they do last forever. And when eventually they start to fade, I'm like, oh, that's a little faded. Let me just rewrite it.
But for some reason, the bleach takes off the Sharpie.
Okay.
I don't know why. It just kind of, and it's going. Because we did the Sharpie thing. And it didn't work. And that's why I got the Avery labels, which was a experimental sort of thing that we had gone through a number of different processes. And so that's why I'm sharing the word. So that way you don't have to spend all the money that I did trying different things that didn't work.
Fair.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Fair. All right. So when we come back, we're going to talk about some of our other favorite intangibles. I love being a house call groomer, but I hate doing laundry or worrying about asking my clients for fresh towels. Raypet has solved those problems for me with the Wet Pet disposable towel, taking up much less space than traditional cotton towels and easy to wring out and reuse. These super soft, comfy, absorbent towels eliminate any cross-contamination concerns between pets. And now their new smaller washcloth size can even help those sensitive eye areas. Great for cleaning out wrinkles gently and thoroughly. Need to keep water bowls for your clients on hand that are easy to disinfect, but hate all the room traditional clanky metal bowls take up? Or just have a very active pet? Their collapsible silicone bowl comes with an aluminum D-ring hook that can be attached to your pet's leash or anywhere else in your van for easy storage. You can get one by itself or in their handy travel kit, along with a set of 3 tick removers and 1 small wet pet towel. So stop by their website to check it out, raypet.net, and tell them the Traveling Groomer sent you. Oh, and by the way, this was cleared by Angie. When I do my disinfecting and I run the disinfecting solution through the Bathing Beauty to rinse out the tub and all my stuff that I can get with that, I throw in the towels I use during the day, the Raypet towels. So they are now soaking in the properly diluted disinfectant. And then I can use them to wipe down the surfaces and wipe down the walls more regularly. And it's so fast.
Yeah, she's not using them on the dogs. She's using them as
No.
disinfectant.
I don't reuse them on dogs. I use them to then clean the salon.
Yeah. And that works great. The Raypet towels would be fabulous for that, especially if you're going to be doing like a waste removal. Say you are grooming a cocker. We all know what happens when they get old and they're on the table. Cockers poo on your table. I think it's like on their checklist of stuff to do. Oh, I'm going to get groomed today. I'm going to poo on the table. So after they poo on the table and the dog is removed from the table, because as soon as they poo on the table, they then want to step on the poo. So you put them back.
Their happy dance. They feel better. They
I feel
lighter.
so much better. I want to dance in the poo. However, I don't want them dancing in the poo. So you got to put them up. And so they go back in the crate until you can deal with the poo. You're going to want to bleach and water that area simply because feces carries all sorts of contaminants in it. It could be worms. It could be all sorts of different things. So feces and waste of any type should always be cleaned with a bleach solution. And you know, you can use that, they do have bleach wipes that you can use and just leave on the area to ensure that it stays wet, because contact time. And then you can return to grooming the dog that feels so much better now that they pooped.
I just had you were talking about that. I just had a flashback flashback from the movies Pink Flamingos.
I don't really watch TV.
No, it's an old movie. It's a John Waters, and towards the end of it, Divine ate something. Yeah.
I don't know who any of these people are. I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it. It's a
I don't really
very
watch TV.
yeah. It's like a movie from 1972.
Don't feel bad, Angie. I have no idea what she's talking about either.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't get a lot of pop culture references simply because I don't really watch TV. I don't watch movies. I can't sit still for that long. It's just me. I'm like generally out after about 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, that was good. I gotta go. I got stuff to do. I can't just sit here. It's making me crazy.
Yeah. If you've never seen it, maybe don't. It's a John Waters flick from 1972, and one of the actresses, I'm not sure how Divine identifies. They're in extreme drag. They eat dog poo in the film.
Yeah, I think I pass on that.
Yeah, so maybe don't worry about it.
Okay, so moving it along.
Yeah, because that's now in my brain.
Okay, now you've put it in everybody else's brain.
Sorry.
Good job,
sometimes
Chris.
You're welcome. But
okay, so
all right, so what are some
Chris?
So other intangibles, we talk about education all the time. That's an example of an intangible, because you're bringing new knowledge into your salon.
Okay, so how about this for an intangible? Stopping and having lunch.
Yes.
I require my people to take lunch simply because I didn't have that option for a very long time. And then when I tried to then retrain my body to eat lunch, it made me violently ill.
It's difficult, because when I was coming up in corporate grooming, you didn't. It was kind of like this unspoken culture thing where it wasn't done. And Cam would be actively angry at me because I'd come home starving, and I'd be like, oh, I didn't have a chance to eat. And he's like, but you brought lunch. The lunch I brought was like a power bar that I kept in my smock pocket, so I could, as I was working, take bites. And on a good day, I got 2 bites.
Yeah, at best, Christmas time, I'd like yonk back a couple Christmas cookies, and that was it. But I require them to take a lunch because I do not want them to do to their bodies what I have done to mine. Because to this day, I cannot eat lunch without being sick to my stomach. It doesn't work for me. Even on a day off, I can't do it. So my first meal the day of supper time, every single day. Because if I eat earlier than that, I feel horrible. Just how it works. Because I've trained my body that that's how it needs to run for so long.
Which
And I
is
don't
not
want-
healthy.
No, it's not healthy at all. But I don't want my staff to ever feel that or have that as an issue.
Mhm.
All right. But the reason you want to stop and take a lunch is that, yes, it is a very physical job. But what happens is when we don't stop and eat something, and I mean like stop. I don't mean sitting at the table, grabbing a bite of a sandwich, cutting the dog's nails, having another bite, cutting another. No, I'm talking about physically stopping. First of all, your brain has to get off because it's basically on a hamster wheel. Okay. So you need to stop the hamster wheel and give your brain fuel, because you're denying the brain fuel. It's going to get sluggish and you're going to make mistakes. I bet if they did like some sort of surveys when groomers were most likely to get bit or groomers are most likely to have an accident, I would almost bet we should do this. We should do the survey at some point. Okay. What point in the day did that happen?
Later in the day.
Probably later in the day, unless you just went to work without eating in the first place. Okay. And I know I was for a long time, that was me. I was going to work and I'd have a cup of tea and that would be breakfast, So
Lunch, afternoon tea.
yeah. So, and I was, like I said, I did that a lot. All right. But then I found out that I was like, it would actually slow me down for the rest of the day. So if your body is not working at peak, if your brain is not operating at peak, you're going to slow down. You're going to make mistakes. And those mistakes are going to cost you money. They could cost you money via vet bills. They could cost you money because a groomer got hurt. But also it can cost you money via reputation. Keyboard warriors.
Yeah. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we come back from our very last commercial break and wrap up. But I also want to say everything is better after you go potty. I know because I've been there. The temptation is like, let me hold it. I'm almost done with this dog. This person is coming in 10 minutes, but everything is easier when you're not concentrating on holding your bladder so hard.
All right, I'm just going to jump in real quick, and I know you're going to do a commercial. Let me just hop in here. If your ideal, okay, is in between every dog, first of all, you should be washing your hands because you are the largest vector of disease spread in your salon. Because you're touching one dog and you're going to the next dog. And if you are not washing your hands in between dogs, that's a problem because we're touching all the things. So after you finish a dog, you need to, one, void your bladder. Why? Because if you do so, and I have this one, I've heard this from a doctor. If you void your bladder on a regular and routine basis, you're actually doing quite a bit to help the muscles so that they continue to function as you get older. Do not hold your urine. It's not good for you.
Okay, we have actually gone over this on another podcast, and because I'm an extra special individual, actually presented this as a short speech in Toastmasters, how training your how Kegels are important for men and women, and how holding your bladder will act, and overtraining your Kegel muscles can actually hurt them and can actually make things worse and lead to incontinence later in life. And there is nothing like every sneeze being a surprise. It's not cool. We don't want to do that. There's no excuses. And I'm gonna, because I'm a house call groomer, I'm gonna call out y'all too. If you're grooming in someone's house and you're either not comfortable with them or you're not comfortable asking them to use the bathroom, or you think they're not going to let you use the bathroom, maybe you shouldn't be grooming in their house. That there's bigger issues going on there.
Yeah.
Just saying. But yeah, let's take our extra last break and wrap things up. And speaking of continuing education, because we either were or will be, join the Andis World Class Education Team each month for live new and trending styles, as well as tips and tricks from some of the best groomers in the industry. Whether you're looking for basic skills, trending styles, advanced techniques, or even just ways to spark your creativity, the new Andis Grooming Education site is your source for finding what you need to create your way for success. Try new techniques, learn from the pros, and grow your confidence today at andis.com/groomer education. Traveling Groomer podcast listeners, hey, that's you, can get 25% off your first course today with the code VEGROOMING at checkout on andis.com/groomer education.
Yeah, you
Oops.
might cut out there for a second.
And now I know. Okay, so what happened was I attempted to mute my Zoom so that there wouldn't be background coughing in the video portion, because I know that gets no editing. I didn't realize that would also, yeah. So I've been trying to be more careful of muting my Zoom, because that's the recording Mary goes off of for YouTube. Since clearly, as we discussed, I have some kind of cold or horribleness, but so apologies to Andis. You got a couple seconds cut out there because I would have.
It was literally 2 words.
A blip. Okay. Cool.
That's what the waving was about.
Oh yeah, I was I'm like, what did happen? Did I? But it's the same commercial. It's been, everything's still correct. What? Panicked. So, all right. So I have a question as we're wrapping up. Would you consider hiring a cleaning person a tangible or an intangible?
I would consider that an intangible, and I would also consider that straight up a requirement for me, for my salon.
Mhm.
I have a cleaning person. I love her. She's amazing. She makes me balloon animals and leaves them on my front counter because she thinks it's cute.
Because it's fucking cute.
Yeah, it's awesome. He has a side business. And shout out, it's Julie Balloony, and she does kids parties and she makes balloon animals. So she always leaves me like a bunny or a dog or a giraffe or a snowman or something. And aside from that, she can do in 3 hours what it takes us, there's 5 of us,
like half a day, probably.
yeah, pretty much. Now, if you're figuring out pay for all those people and how much their time is worth, it's a whole lot more than I pay her. And yes, I understand there are some cleaners that are really expensive. However, I'm going to tell you now, look for a commercial cleaner, not a house cleaner. They are not the same thing. A commercial cleaner cleans businesses. They work to a different set of protocols and different set of rules. They are familiar with different circumstances. So they'll be cleaning like doctors' offices where they understand there has to be some sort of level of disinfection, things like this. Okay. Where a house cleaner is cleaning a house to make it look nice. I want it disinfected. That's my top priority. So she works to that priority because she's a commercial cleaner. And so call around. There are commercial cleaners in your area for a reasonable price. And so if I say to you that I would recommend you have a commercial cleaner come in once a week, do not tell me they're too expensive, because I'm going to ask you who you called and how much they were. And if you say, well, I just called a few people, I'm going to again ask you, who did you call? And if you tell me 2 people, I'm going to tell you that you should get no less than 5 quotes for anything you do, be it a plumber, a carpenter, and anybody who's coming into your salon to do work. 5.
Makes sense.
Oh, no, it makes total sense. All right.
And-
Because we came out when we were moving out here to Washington. So we had bought the land, and that came to a point that we knew we were going to start building. So we flew out here. Okay. And I had set up an appointment with 4 builders. Okay. So, and every builder I spoke to understood we were flying from Connecticut to Washington. All right. We set specific times. So of the 4, 2 showed up. And one was like, oh yeah, we could build on this property, not a problem. And the other one came prepared. He had maps of the property already, had basic idea of things that needed to be done to make it a buildable property. And so that's who we went with. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, gee, let me guess who you hired.
Yeah. So the point being is the reason that you get many quotes, especially if they're coming out to your facility, is first of all, not all of them are going to show up.
True.
Okay. And then the ones that do show up, all right, then see how prepared they are for your business.
She had a huge list of questions for me. A huge list of questions. And I probably spent about 30 minutes going over everything with her. And it was what products. I'm lucky I have, in addition to my sanitation protocols, I have an operating manual. My operating manual is 700 pages long. Because I plan for the worst and I hope for the best. Okay. I want that salon to roll on as if my being there matters none. Okay. So every single bit of operations in that salon, including how to clean the bathroom, is in that operating manual. And because I have been dead 6 times, I'm not entirely sure if I've got 3 left, but you know,
We don't want to find out.
no, I don't really want
Like
to
we just don't want to find out. Let's leave it at that. We're going to say sure, but not tempt fate.
right. So, but that's reality. And I wanted that salon to run even if I was not there to run it. So I wanted everything documented so the next person could easily step in and go, okay, so everything's here. We know how to do all of the things because it's here.
You know, so when we finally got to the point that we signed the contract and we were starting to figure out all the things we wanted in the house, right? So this is an example of streamlined processes. So in their office, they had every door was a different door. Well, the windows were different. The siding was different. Inside the like the windowsills all were different. They had a couple different fireplaces going. Okay. And the reason for that is that, well, what kind of windowsill do you want? Well, I don't know what kind of windowsill. Well, you could have this, this, or this right there in the freaking office. You know how much time that saved them, right? Rather than going back and forth over which freaking windowsill do you want? What type of window do you want? Everything was right there. You just pointed to it.
Yep.
You want this door, you want this door.
So what I did for the cleaner was I printed up a thin folder that was all the different things that I would need her to do and how to do them. And I handed it to her. Here you go. That's what I need you to do. How much will it be? She was like, oh, it's this. Charges me $157.50 a week. And she's phenomenal.
Okay.
This came to mind because I just scheduled my cleaner to come back because I've been not able to, but I'm just getting back on track, and she was out for a little bit, so she's coming back to work as of December 20th, so she's getting her schedule set up. So I'm like, yes, please. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Angie, anything else you want to add as far as intangibles are concerned?
Yeah, they're worth it. And on, not necessarily on intangibles, but look at the contact times, guys, with this new virus coming out
Oh yeah.
or here. Please look at the contact times for the disinfectants that you're using. Because if you're not using them for the proper contact times, you're wasting your time and you're wasting the product.
Yeah, one other thing I just want to add about that too. All right. So think about not just keeping your clients safe. I have 4 dogs. Honestly, my priority was, so I did not want to bring home anything to my personal dogs.
Yeah.
So my sanitation protocols always had to do with, well, I am not bringing home anything to my dogs.
Well, my dogs go to work with me. So even though they are separated from the rest of the dogs, the other dogs are kenneled, so are they. But still, I don't want anything in my salon that they can be exposed to.
Yep.
Yep. All right, guys, we are up on our hour, and I am not necessarily hangry, but I am out of tea. And with how my throat is, being out of any kind of liquid is not appropriate.
Did you add ginger to it?
No.
You want to add some
Lemon
ginger to it.
and ginger.
I did add lemon. So my next batch, my next glass, because I'm not going to have a whole nother pot, because I would like to almost sleep through the night. I should have some ginger tea somewhere. Actually, I'll just make a cup of ginger tea or make some.
If you have some Manuka honey, throw that in there.
I have wound care honey, which no, I had regular honey and lemon in this, as well as a hefty dollop of rum. So there we go. That'll help kill the germs. I told Cam, who's making dinner, to put garlic in the pasta sauce like he's trying to kill us. Because yeah, I want to.
All right. So
offend
good luck
people by
sleeping
sweating
tonight,
it out
Chris.
tomorrow. No, thank you.
Yeah, you guys might want to sleep like feet to head. Just like
well,
You're
no,
putting
if we both have the garlic, it's fine.
yeah, but
It's fine. It's fine.
I don't think it will, but good luck with it.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Angie, thank you for coming on as always.
Thanks for having me.
Guys, in the comments, share what the favorite intangible thing you have done for your salon is, and get through the Christmas season. It's almost over. This airs on the 20th. You're almost through. You can do this. Safe travels. Well, that was fun, but now it's time to head home. We hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed chatting with you. If there are any topics you'd like us to discuss or guests you want to see join us on this crazy road trip of ours, let us know in the Traveling Groomers Facebook page. Don't forget to thank our sponsors. And see you next week, guys. Safe travels.